Good morning, good morning. Welcome to day 14 of Junk Journal July, Meg Journal's project for the month of July and January for us. This is my fourth attempt at doing this video, uploading this video, but it keeps rejecting it. So I have decided to shorten it. Yes, I found that in a suitcase. I'm getting ready to pack for our pre-pack, actually, for our, do y'all ever do that? Pre-pack for our trip to England, and that was in it, in a little side pocket. So I'm adding it to my collection of Van Gogh paraphernalia. I had a great video, but it was long. It was 36 minutes. So I have decided to cut it in half and do a voiceover. So you're going to miss all my spontaneous pearls of wisdom and humor and mistakes. So I will have to just recreate it. I talked a lot about Vietnam and craft tours, not sponsored. And that's the tour we're taking to England. And it's a Jenny Doan is the celebrity, in air quotes, attraction. And on the Vietnam trip that I took with Craft Tours, the celebrity was Bonnie Hunter. And I talked about the difference in their personalities. I talked about the difference in their approach to a lot of things. And very much looking forward to having a vacation with Jenny Doan, I guess. They stay with you the entire time. They are not your tour guide. They are there to be entertained also, but entertaining means different things to different people. Anyhow, so getting really excited, and I talked a lot about, you can tell by the waving of my hands. It kind of got out of control. Thus, I was 15 minutes in to the video before I started the project this morning. I talked a lot about, because one of you, and I can't remember your name, had a question about the Margaret Fabrizio tours. Quilts. If only she would do craft tours. But she's in her 90s. The Margaret Fabrizio tours, quilts I saw in San Francisco last month. They are in San Francisco in a building called the Mills Building, 220 Montgomery Street, close to Market, close to very bad areas. I drove straight there and straight home with prior plans to go to Dick Blick Arts on Market Street. Changed my mind per many people's suggestions. Anyhow, tragic what's happening in San Francisco. Really tragic. Anyhow, well, that's a whole nother political conversation. Anyhow, the quilts are fabulous. They're in a lobby of that building called the Mills Building at 220 Montgomery. And don't quote me, but I think they're there till like September. Joe Cunningham and Margaret Fabrizio, if you're a quilter, a modern quilter, are friends. And they have been friends for years. He and Margaret came together, along with another lady who I can't remember her name, but the quilts were very pretty, very different, very abstract in art pieces. They came together and put their quilts in the lobby of this building. Beautiful. Margaret Fabrizio is the trend starter, as far as I'm concerned, for the Kawandi quilts, and that's what all of hers were. She went to India and saw the Siddhi people making these quilts and could not figure out, came home, tried to make them herself, could not figure out how to do it, and went back to India and stayed with them for a couple weeks and had them teach her how to do it. So hers are very, very, very authentic. There are people doing other renditions of it because it's not easy to figure out, believe it or not. I can't figure it out. I have made my own rendition of it. But she is very authentic. And there's another lady who goes by Root Connection on Instagram, who also lives in the Bay Area, that makes them. And hers are authentic. They're beautiful, in my opinion. They're beautiful. I have seen her quilts also at a quilt show in San Diego many years ago. I grew up in California, so I go out there frequently. every other year-ish, depending on pandemics, um, to visit family and friends. And the trip to San Diego started in San Diego, but ended up in the Central Valley where my sister lives. And I wanted to see her quilts in San Diego. So we went into San Diego. My sister from here and I, here being South Carolina, went to San Diego first, rented a car, and then drove up to where my sister is. Anyhow, she's still in the same area, and it's a 2-hour drive from San Francisco. So I had a rental car this visit last month and drove into San Francisco and then drove back. The drive itself was an absolute mind-blowing experience for me because I don't drive like that anymore with 7 lanes of traffic and toll booths and all that other kind of stuff here in South Carolina. It doesn't happen. Anyhow, so that was quite a triumph for me, as much as seeing those quilts, but they are beautiful, beautiful. And if you're close by that area, I highly recommend them. And if you like her style, I highly recommend them. She's quite a lady, quite a lady. And I was supposed to meet with her when I went to see them in San Diego. But alas, that was the time of when I got sick on an airplane every time I flew. And here I'm talking about the trip to Vietnam, which was fabulous, also fabulous. And I did not want to expose Margaret to a cold that I caught on the plane. Since COVID, I don't get those colds anymore. How about that? Hand sanitizer and all that, masks at times in airports are a lifesaver for me. Anyhow, so 15 minutes into the video, now we're only 7. Here's some more postcards that I found also. This was some of the places we went to. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Vietnam is beautiful. Hot, hot. We were there at the very beginning of May, and it was 100 degrees. Humid. I'm used to humidity. It's a little bit different there. Maybe even worse, except up in the mountains. It was beautiful. Anyhow, I'm still jabbing my jaws about Vietnam. And I'll give you a tip here. This is what I'm talking about. If you can find postcards anymore, and if you're going to use them for journaling, get ones that have multiple pictures on them because you can cut them up. And they're photographic experts taken pictures generally. And that's a good tip I have found, but it's getting harder and harder to find postcards. So the prompt today is weather. I have no clue. No clue. Perhaps that's why I was 15 minutes into this video before I figured out what I was going to do. In the end, love how this turned out. Love it. Anyhow, I have this page to work with, which has the coral and a little bit of green jelly plate on it. And I'm going to go flipping through this book to see if I can find a moody, gloomy picture as if the weather were bad. And I found some. And this book is fabulous. It came from Amazon, but I saw it at the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. I just didn't want to traipse it across country with it, so I waited till I got home to order it. But I'm kind of looking for just a gloomy, gloomy picture of weather. And because these pictures are black and white sepia, sometimes of the places where he was, it kind of lends itself to gloomy weather. But I found something. Because see, here's a gorgeous picture of weather, but it's too big for my page. And that's what he used to paint that one. And I was trying to figure out if I could do a tip in with that, how I could put that in there. Because I really like that, because it depicts weather to me. And then I thought about that guy, that pic portrait, because he was kind of like down in the dumps. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's down in the dumps because of weather. But the picture I come up with is perfect. Right here. The picture above is what he used as his model to paint. It has coral in it, like the coral in my picture. It's sepia, so it looks gloomy. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Then I read this little blurb here on the page that's all about the relationship between Gauguin and Van Gogh. and how incompatibility incompatibility of temperament. That's what Gauguin wrote to Van Gogh's brother Theo. Incompatibility of temperament. We cannot live together, which was very true. Throw a little alcohol onto that and it becomes quite volatile. Anyhow, because of the picture from where he lived, or the pictures of the meadows in France, just because of the time of the photograph, it's a little gloomy looking, and then his painting just picks out the coral in the picture that I had, the paper that I had already put down. And I love this. This is how I journal. And I say a lot of this at the end. I am not an artist. I am not particularly exact at anything I do. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And I quilt that way actually too. But I prefer to, I'm making a hinge here so it glues easier to the paper since I'm doing a tip in. Because I kept the story because I thought that was just a great stormy relationship that Gauguin and Van Gogh had. So I want to keep that in there on the weather page. So, except that I put the hinge on the bottom of the page, but I fix all that anyhow. I'm not particularly technical on how I do things. And I'm not artistic, but I do think I have a imagination. And anything can be turned into a prompt or fodder for a prompt if you just let your imagination roam. And case in point today. Love all this. Love all this. And I that's the most fun, especially with someone else's prompt list. How can I take their prompt of weather and make it my own? And I think that's the fun part of these challenges, is just, and the whole point of them, in my opinion, is to just roam with your imagination. Whether it's to Rome or to France or to South Carolina or to California or to a building with quilts in the lobby, let your imagination go. And it makes up for your lack of technique, in my opinion. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Anyhow, this was fun. And then I put a foggy morning so that I could relate that to weather when I'm 80 at the nursing home. And I remember why I did this particular page in this accordion journal that I did for Junk Journal July. So then I look at tomorrow's prompt, which now I don't even remember what it is, and try to figure out how I'm going to use these colors, because I love, this is just a scrap piece of paper with jelly prints on it, and how I'm going to make that my own for tomorrow. And I don't remember what the prompt is, but that woman's picture is going on there, and the coral in her table brings out the coral in the paper, and the other colors bring out the mushy greens that are on the other jelly print. So that's going, I put a bookmark in it, and we're going to use that tomorrow. I'm not quite sure how, but we're going to use it. So that's the fun of a junk journal and my philosophy. And use your imagination. Let it go. Just let it go. And I did another little bit of a speech about my daily practice here and how it starts my day off every day with a positive spin. And I try to keep that positive spin all day. Adding walking to my morning has helped also. Oh, I did add this little blue heart because it was sitting here on my table. But starting off your day positively, whether it's with food, whether it's with exercise, whether it's with exercise in art, whether it's with editing a video, whether it's gluing hearts to everything. Positivity rocks. Anyhow, I didn't exactly say it that way when I was recording the video the first time, but I just love how that all comes together. Oh, I did do a flip through here, just for some of these new people that are here, explaining that it's a Meg's Journal, Junk Journal July prompt list, and how all my Van Gogh collection came together as I was cleaning up my art room last month, and I decided to make my junk journal from the viewpoint of Vincent van Gogh. and how I have applied these prompts to these pages in this junk journal. And just loving the color combo, of course, and how this all is just mushing together in a lovely, lovely sort of way. Even when you think, this happens to me a lot. I don't know if just because it's my lack of talent or technique or whatever, but sometimes you don't think the page is the best, but in the end, it all mushes with the project. It all blends well together. And I love how that kind of all works together at the end. My opinion, of course. But really fun, really fun. Hopefully I can upload the video at half the length it was, and that will solve whatever's happening in my computer brain. Anyhow, really, this journal's been, it's great to take a good prompt list and just run with it. And that's kind of what's happening here, even though my dots are moving around. And loving this, loving this. I've done other journals like this from somebody else's viewpoint, Mark Twain, Michael Palin, lots of different ones. And I just enjoy that, because I don't have the experiences or the talent or the whatever. Letting my imagination go is the best part, the best thing for me. And I love it. I love it. That's one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. This whole book has been fun, really fun, really enjoyable. Is it the combination of a great prompt list and Van Gogh entering into my psyche? Perhaps, but it's been fun, very fun. And I would love to have a cheese wrapper that looked just like that. So we are done. We are done. Thanks for watching. Sorry I had to do a voiceover this time. Not sure what's going on with my computer. Please don't die, computer. Anyhow, so fun times, and thanks for watching. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks for great comments every day, and I will see you all tomorrow.